I've just spent 2 hours looking at Sebastian Stan's Donald Trump hair, and then I'm trying to sort my own fringe out before hitting record. I mean, my hair's not as bad as Donald Trump's, but it's not great. Not that you're here for the hair. I've just been to see a film called The Apprentice, which is the story of a young Donald J. Trump and his rise to success. It is, we start in the late 70s and progress into the 1980s. And I was really interested to see this. I think it's good to watch a variety of films, and I thought it was going to be quite an interesting story. I don't know a huge amount about Donald Trump, except for everything that's unfolded in the last decade or so, since he went from being that businessman who's in Home Alone 2 and Alan Sugar's US equivalent on the US Apprentice, to being actual president of the United States, and at the time of recording is currently running for office again. Scary stuff. So yeah, it was very interesting to get this little snapshot into the life of this man back then. Now, it says at the beginning that obviously it's based on real people, but some names have been changed and some things have been fictionalized. So I think it's not a biopic, and you have to take some things with a pinch of salt. Some things I'm sure are done for artistic license. It's a very good film. It's interesting. It's a really it's a way of telling the story of New York at this time, and a snapshot of America at the time, like I say, late 70s into the 80s. And it's hard to imagine now, because New York is such a destination that people want to go to. I've like friends I know who've like been in the last week or so. And I've been twice. I went twice in 1 year, back when I, was allowed to have holidays back in the day, pre-children. So yeah, it's like the place that everybody wants to go. But at the time that this film is set, or certainly when it starts, it is kind of on its knees. And we meet a young Donald J. Trump. He's the second son of Frederick and I've forgotten the mum's name, Mr. and Mrs. Trump. They're in real estate. They've got these high-rise flats, these sort of cheap apartments. And at the time of meeting the young Donald, the family business is in trouble. They've been accused of segregation, of shady practices when it comes to letting apartments to minorities, and it looks like they're going to get screwed. And then Donald, at an exclusive members club, meets a lawyer who goes by the name of Ray Cohn, and Ray Cohn is played superbly by the actor Jeremy Strong. Most people will recognise Jeremy Strong as having played Kendall Roy in Succession, the eldest. No, he wasn't the eldest, was he? Of course he wasn't the eldest. The other one was the eldest. It doesn't matter. Kendall Roy from Succession, that one. The one who wanted it all, the one who wanted to take over the business. So he is Ray Cohn. He's a very successful lawyer, very brutal, very sort of no-nonsense, and Donald is absolutely wowed by him. And he decides to take the young Donald, seeing potential in him, he decides to take the young Donald under his wing. So the whole film spans like the length of their relationship, the impact that Cohn had on Trump, and basically what you see is a monster being created. Like, you see him going from being an ambitious but somewhat clueless younger man to growing in confidence with Ray at his side, to the point where their relationship sours, and then Donald's completely convinced himself that he did it all. He didn't actually need any help at all, because he's Donald Trump. He's Donald Trump. He's the best in the world. He's the best in the world. Sebastian Stan plays Donald Trump, and he is absolutely outstanding. It's good that he's playing him at an earlier part of his life, because obviously now when people parody Trump, he's so ripe for parody, because now he is such a comical figure. I mean, a dangerous one, terrifyingly dangerous one, but there's so much of current Trump to poke fun at the hair, the skin tone, the cluelessness, there's so much parody. But what's brilliant about Stan's performance is that he plays him as a real man. You know, you do see weaknesses, you do see insecurities, but then you see that start to just fall away as basically he starts to believe his own hype. You know, there's a real thing with Ray early on where he's like, it's not quite fake it till you make it, but it's kind of, you know, you put something out there into the world as the truth, and then you just act like it is the truth until it becomes the truth. You know, there's a lot of like that, just you do it first and ask questions later. And then, yeah, as Trump sort of grows in power and popularity, when he becomes more wealthy and more powerful, he just starts to believe his own hype. And it's such a nuanced performance. You see him looking more and more Trump-like as the film goes on. So the earlier part of the film, he's like, it still looks like Sebastian Stan. And then as the film progresses, as Trump puts weight on, as his hair starts to thin, all that sort of stuff, you can sort of see, not the Trump that we know now, but certainly the Trump that a lot of us would have become aware of years ago start to emerge. It's a fantastic performance. He's not afraid to play him ugly. To begin with, weirdly, I found myself rooting for him, and I don't know if that's because he was being played by an actor that I like, but you kind of want him to succeed. You can see how sort of desperate he is for approval, and then he sort of starts to grow in confidence, like I say, and then obviously it just all goes, there's so much corruption there's so much underhanded behaviour, and you see him forget people who helped him. Sort of he will climb over anybody to be successful. So yeah, it's an excellent performance from Sebastian Stan. The actress playing Ivana Trump, she was very good as well. I didn't know her from anything else, and I did look up her name and it's gone out of my head, so I can only apologise. It is directed by a guy called Ali Abbasi. It's the first film of his that I've seen, but he was very good. It was well directed. I love the way it looked. It really got to lean into the extravagance of the 80s via the lens of the Trumps, when you see like the opulent home, obviously as he gains more money, how Ivana's look changes over the years that she's with him, and the various hairstyles, and, you know, just... It like I say, it's a really good look at America, or specifically New York, in that sort of period from as the 70s moved into the 80s, and of showing the opulence but also the disparity, the way there was such a divide between, you know, the haves and the have-nots, and we're very much focused on, and it's just the blind sort of belligerence with which he plows forward. You know, he's got loans up to his eyeballs, he's, you know, but he just constantly stretches himself. He's so convinced of his own brilliance that he just pushes and pushes and pushes, and like, you won't be told. And that's when he starts to fall out with Ray, when Ray tries to give him like a reality check and say, you need to slow down. It's like, well, no, you know, you basically, this is what you made me this confident, and I don't need you anymore. So really good performances all round. It's not always a comfortable watch. There's a scene in particular that made me really uncomfortable. But like I say, he's not afraid to show the ugliness of the man, the ambition, the frailty, the sort of just how pathetic a guy he is, you know, how insecure. And how so much of the confidence is just like bravado, and behind closed doors he's not so sure. So yeah, brilliant, really interesting, really interesting film. Excellent performances all round. I love the style of it, I love the way it was shot. Yeah, great, thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, is it for everybody? Probably not. You know, if you're a goes to the cinema once a month or once every couple of months person, then this isn't the film you're going to pick, because, you know, you're going to stick with more mainstream, more blockbuster, more stuff that you're guaranteed to enjoy. But I'm really glad I got to see this. It was interesting. I think I would expect awards nods for perhaps both Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong in their respective roles. And yeah, very interesting watch. And what an awful man, and may he die horribly. I know that's an awful way to end, but I don't care. I cannot abide the man. But it was a really interesting performance from Sebastian Stan, and a very interesting film. Okay, thanks for listening. Katie out.